So I have a promo for us to do for Popping Collars, but I was too lazy to write something, so I had AI write it for us.
Oh no. I can't wait to do this.
What's all this direction?
There's a lot of direction.
There's a lot of adverbs.
The AI really wants us to work hard on this. Here I go, enthusiastically. Welcome to Popping Collars, podcast where religion and pop culture collide in the most unexpected ways. Join Greg, I guess me, join me, Betsy, Liz, and Ricardo as they explore everything from the profound to the playful with a little twist of mystery, literature, music, and drama. We're diving into the spiritual side of true crime novels. Liz, did you get into our algorithm here? How do faith and morality play out in the darkest stories?
Ever wondered if Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities has deeper religious themes? We'll break it down and maybe even compare it to a Pearl Jam song or two.
Whoa, they know us.
And when we dive into British period dramas like Downton Abbey or The Crown, we're asking, how do faith, power, and class intersect in those worlds? And that's true. We did do that.
It's not just about the big questions. We're also taking pop culture icons and how they tackle faith, redemption, and the meaning of life.
Do you want to do that again? Because I don't think we're taking the pop culture icons. We're talking about the pop culture.
I was busy being cheerful.
Yeah, he's really working hard.
So, brightly. I don't know what brightly means, so I'll just say it this way. So, whether you're into mysteries, literature, rock anthems, or Victorian tea parties, oh, this is so Anglican. Popping Collars has something for everyone. Subscribe now and join us every week for a fun, thoughtful ride.
That was great.
What a promo. Welcome to the PC Music Diary, the once in a while podcast, Popping Collars side pod, where Ricardo Avila and I talk about music. And yes, Ricardo is back with us, everyone. Welcome back, Ricardo.
Oh, Greg, it is a pleasure to have been gone for 2.5 months.
So how many croissants did you eat? How much escargot? What all were you doing over there? Oh, bangers and mash? You were in London for a little while. What all was happening while you were overseas?
You're talking about the food. So, Greg, I was on sabbatical for 2.5 months, May 1st to July 15th, and I spent the entire month of May in an apartment in Paris, France, and it was a dream come true. And basically, you could find me at an art museum, strolling the boulevards, racing around and having a crepe or a quiche Lorraine or a croissant. And yeah, escargot. I probably had escargot maybe 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
I like escargot, but it's really about the garlic butter, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I was in Spain, the big thing was pulpo, which was like octopus that was boiled in its own ink, and stuff. And it sounds gross because it's just not part of our diet, but it is the perfect sort of paprika and salt and onion powder delivery device. It's like the elements that go on the pulpo is what you're really going for,
Yeah. You can eat the sole of a shoe with garlic.
Right.
It'd be all right. But it was fantastic. It was just, Paris is amazing. There's just, I found myself thinking one day, like maybe 3 weeks in, it's just like, this place it should win like an award for being the closest thing to heaven. Of course, it's not everybody's thing, right? But there's just the art there is like some of the best art. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, okay, the haters are going to come in and whatever, or people have different opinions, but it's unbelievable. And it's all in one city. Mm-hmm. And there's so much, and the food and the fashion. everybody was nice too. So I was in Paris for a month and in northern France for a week, in Strasbourg and Reims, which looks like it's pronounced Rems. And then I joined William in England and in the UK for 5 weeks. We spent 4 weeks touring 19 UK cathedrals, staying in about 10 different hotels, all the way from London, Salisbury, Wells, Exeter, Worcester, Hereford, Gloucester, Coventry, Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester, the Lake District, Carlisle, York, Ripon, and then 5 nights in Glasgow. And I got to tell you, Greg, I think I said this before, but I'm going to repeat it. Take a Scottish Highlands tour with Rabbies, Rabbies. It's a 16-person van. We had an 11-hour tour with our tour guide, Graham, who was the best tour guide I've ever had. And I've had tour guides, and it's just stunningly gorgeous. You will not believe it if you haven't seen it.
That's so awesome. I got to tell you, our international listeners are just losing it right now because, we're so American centric on this podcast so many times that I'm sure they're just like squealing. Like, he said York. I can't believe it. He said York.
Aren't our fans in like Romania and stuff? I don't
we have fans all over, dude. Like, every time I look at the map, I'm like, what is happening? Is there a call center that's just downloading podcasts from around the world?
All right. You know what? I'm going to just say something. If you are listening to this, listener, and you are from another country, you need to email us and tell us so that we can stop thinking that these are bots.
So, Ricardo, while you were gone, in your absence, we did run a couple of Music Diary episodes. I felt like I was cheating on you or something by doing this, but listen, I can't line up interviews with celebrities every month. I'm not Mark Maron, they're not stopping by here for their press tours.
Right.
So we filled in with a couple of Music Diary episodes. We had one on U2, and we had another one that we took the pop biography concept of the show that we did before, but we applied it to music. So quick question before we get started on our list this time. If you had to pick a U2 song or a biography song, what would you have picked for those two lists?
I think I wrote you, Greg. I listened to both of those episodes while I was away, being a faithful Popping Collars co-host.
That was one of our listens from the UK. Yeah, you were one of our stats.
Oh, so they do exist. No, and I think I sent you my top 5 U2 songs. Now I can't remember what they are. I know that one of them is it's called Stay. And then in parentheses, Far Away, So Close. Mm. You know what else is fantastic is Bad. I can't believe you guys didn't choose Bad from Unforgettable Fire.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Remember? If I could, I would. If I could, I would. Let it go.
Let it go. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that song is so good. So, yeah, I gave you 2. Biography, I already did that episode. But I don't remember. That was your brother-in-law?
That's my brother, my stepbrother, yeah.
Your stepbrother. You guys were fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
Say that. You guys went really deep. I was kind of, shocked, actually.
It was a fun thing to do because, our stories overlap there for a little while, like when our families combine and stuff like that. But then we go in very different directions. And I thought that was really interesting, the way that sort of unfolded. But we so missed you for those episodes. I hope that you heard me express over and over again how much you were missed.
I did. I loved it. I loved it. I know you're like, I feel like I'm cheating on Ricardo. I was like, you are. But it was good. You picked good mistresses, I guess.
Well, we're bringing you back with a concept that is going to be really easy. We're running back the cover songs theme that we did before. Have I introduced myself yet on this podcast? If I haven't, my name is Greg Knight. I'm one of your hosts for the Popping Colors Music Diary, where we talk about music around a genre, an artist, a theme, a album, whatever. And our theme this time is cover songs. We've already done a cover songs episode, but I think we said on that episode, impossible to limit it to
Many,
five. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
so many.
And I think I edited out like 20 songs that you said, like over the course of that recording.
You did. I was like, I hate him. But I get it. Because
We got to save it. It's time. We got to, these people and their commutes, we got to get them in an hour,
Yeah, well, we've only been talking without actually doing the topic for about 40 minutes here. So.
That's right. So we're doing cover songs part 2. That's our episode this time.
Yeah.
Cover songs. Let's just go right into it. Ricardo, do you want to kick us off or do you want me to?
I will kick us off, Greg.
Okay.
Thank you for saying yes to doing another covers song music diary, because it was painful to just choose the ones from before. By the way, I don't think I ever introduced myself, although you said Ricardo Avila. I'm at St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Los Gatos. So I have 5 songs, and my first song is one that I just heard like in the last few months that I didn't even know existed. So when I was in England, I was in Manchester and did a music tour of like Manchester stuff. And so I've had all those bands on my mind, including the Smiths, who are one of my absolute favorite bands. So I looked up Morrissey online and on Spotify. I thought, let me just see some Morrissey stuff. Morrissey does a cover song with Billie Joe Armstrong of Green Day of Wedding Bell Blues.
Oh. And Wedding Bell Blues, theirs came out in 2019. I don't know if you know the song Wedding Bell Blues. So it was written by Laura Nyro in 1967. By the way, I actually did all my research for this episode. So, Greg, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to dumb it down because I wrote all this stuff down. Is that all right? No, that's great. I'm going to try to keep up with you, but I can't guarantee I will.
Oh, that's all right. It's just putting your heart into it that matters. So Wedding Bell Blues was written by Laura Nyro in 1967, but it was most famously covered by the Fifth Dimension in 1969. It went to number 1, and it goes, I don't know if you know that song. Bill, I love you so, I always will. Mm-hmm. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. So Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. are in the Fifth Dimension. And so when they performed it and recorded it, when they performed it live, Marilyn McCoo would be looking at Billy like, Bill, I love you so. When are you going to marry me? They were engaged, but not married when their version came out. So there was a kind of a playful thing where they would sing this when they were live. And I love that version. But then here it is, Morrissey, 2019, the California Sun album, which I don't know his solo stuff very well. And there he is singing, and his voice sounds great. And of course, it's got that gay undertone because he's saying, come on and marry me, Bill. Mm. And then there's Billie Joe Armstrong in the background, like singing with his Green Day voice, I mean, it's unmistakable. He doesn't sing a lot on it. He's very background, except for a couple little times. Mm-hmm. But it's really good. It's really kind of jazzy and poppy, kind of like the Fifth Dimension version. So I just loved it. I thought, how great. But it's a really, really fun song. Yeah. Wedding Bell Blues by Laura Nyro via the Fifth Dimension, but covered by Morrissey and with Billie Joe Armstrong. And I want to say one more thing. I know I go on and on about Father Bill, my first love, and that whole thing. There's like a whole thing.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
That I've talked about in various episodes. But when I went to college in Madison, so the first love Father Bill thing was in high school. Yeah. I got to Madison, University of Wisconsin for college, and I was kind of acquaintances with a guy who did a late night DJ program on the college station. Uh-huh. And he would let people call in and make requests. And I requested Wedding Bell Blues. And I said, this is for Father Bill Pauly, SJ. And the first word is like, Bill, I love you so. I love you, Bill. And there I am at like midnight, like loving it, which of course, I had just started coming out.
Yeah.
And it was kind of this almost declaration. And, we weren't really in touch by then. And I had kind of gotten over it. But, your first love, you sort of never get over.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of invigorating to get to kind of hear this song and have it publicly stated that it was, for Father Bill.
Well, it sounds like it should be on the karaoke list for you, add it on there.
Right. Yeah.
It's so funny because I think of that as an upbeat song.
It is.
And that doesn't jive with my understanding of Morrissey, right? Because I think of Morrissey and I think of the Smiths and I think of sad songs. And so, yeah, it's interesting. It's like a kind of breaks with his own tradition there a little bit.
Well, when you hear the song, his voice is just so warm. He really gets into it. And so you're right, because in the Smiths, he was like, oh, mother, I can feel. But here, I love you so, I always will.
Yeah, a little swing to it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, well done. So that's my first pick, Wedding Bell Blues.
All right. I am going to kick off with a challenging pick.
Okay.
Betsy always gets on me about this. She's like, why do you do this? We have these themes and you just refuse to stick to the theme. And I'm like, right. I don't know. It's part of my nature, I guess. It's in my nature.
Oh, nice. From the front. That's nice.
But I was recently watching a documentary on Sly and the Family Stone called Sly Lives, which was directed by Questlove. My introduction to Sly was through Woodstock. When I was a junior in high school, it was 1994, and so that was the 25th anniversary of the Woodstock Music Festival. And they even did a Woodstock 94, where I think Green Day played at Woodstock 94, as a matter of fact. So there you go. But I remember watching the documentary because I think they were showing the documentary on PBS as part of the pledge drive for that year. And, it's when you're in high school and you're learning musical taste, and all of a sudden, here are these great classic rock bands, the Who and Jefferson Airplane and Crosby, Stills and Nash and all of this stuff. But then it's also Joan Baez and Arlo Guthrie and Canned Heat and Country Joe and the Fish and, people that aren't necessarily on the radio all the time and stuff. And Sly was one of these where it's I knew everyday people, I guess. And, he has those hit songs that they're kind of pop, they're kind of funk, they're kind of R&B. They're sort of this mix of all these different things. Yeah. And I think that for Woodstock, for the documentary, I think he does 2 songs, if I'm not mistaken. I think Dance to the Music is on the documentary, but definitely Gonna Take You Higher is on the documentary because he does it like a sing-along. And I don't know if you've ever seen a Sly performance. It is mesmerizing to watch him. And that was one of the things that the documentary did well, was that it showed Sly on the Ed Sullivan Show, going into the audience and dancing, in the aisles of the Ed Sullivan Show, while all these stiff white people in suits and dresses are staring at him like he's an alien, and he's just having such a great time, singing and dancing and stuff. I was thinking, okay, so Sly, I'm sure he's probably covered a song or 2. I wonder what a Sly cover would sound like. And it turns out that he does have a cover, but it's not. It's an adjacent cover. So Billy Preston had a song in the 60s called Advice. And so Billy Preston has this song. Well, Sly covers it, but Sly calls it Higher. He doesn't call it Advice. He calls it something different. But it's the same tune, same words, but it's just kind of funkified in that Sly and the Family Stone way.
Let me know, gonna take you higher. You think into something, but you're wrong. Take you higher. Hold my hand, and let me take you higher. I wanna turn you on. Let me take you higher.
And it is engrossing, as sort of all Sly stuff was in that late 60s, early 70s period. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge of Billy Preston apart from the Let It Be album with the Beatles, when he came on to play with them. And that was really just so that they didn't break up as a band. Like, he was there just so that they would be polite to each other because they had a guest like in the studio with them. But, so I don't really know a ton about his music, and I don't really know a ton about how Sly got to this song, but it's just mesmerizing. And I love Sly, and I love his story, even though it's a tragic story. I think it's, one that can ultimately be a story of redemption if viewed in a certain way. And so I wanted to have a Sly song on here, and so that's my cover. Higher by Sly and the Family Stone.
Nice. Okay, I'll do my second pick.
All right.
This will be quick and easy. I did not have a Bob Dylan cover on our last iteration of this, I don't think, and I saw that as a moral failing, and so I have chosen one for this episode, and it's from a kind of an odd person you wouldn't have normally thought would do a cover song of a Bob Dylan song, but of course everybody has.
Yeah.
The name of the song is "She Belongs to Me," and the cover version is by used to be called Ricky, but now Rick Nelson and the Stone Canyon Band.
You can start out standing, proud to steal her anything she sees. But you wind up peeking through a keyhole upon your knee.
Okay.
So Rick Nelson, it's the song is originally from Dylan's "Bringing It All Back Home" album from 1965. Rick Nelson did his version in 1969, and it's really good.
Okay.
It's really good. He's got these background female singers going, ooh. I was impressed, and I only heard this song because I've referenced this before. I took a few classes with a professor at Stanford Continuing Studies Online. He actually teaches at Berkeley. I think his name is Tim Hampton. He would play a song at the beginning of each class, and he played this song, and we were like, that's great. Who is that? He said, you'll never guess. Ricky Nelson. I was like, what? The 50s heartthrob Ricky Nelson?
Yeah.
Yes. But he rebranded himself as Rick Nelson somehow, wanted to be taken more seriously. And so this apparently was the first single that he and the Stone Canyon Band released. It reached number 33 on the Billboard charts, but it's a great song. And it's been covered by a lot of people. But my favorite lyric from the song is, it's basically a guy singing about a woman. It's funny because it's called "She Belongs to Me," but everything in the lyrics says, you totally belong to her. You're her pet, basically. And my favorite line is, you will start out standing, proud to steal her anything she sees, but you will wind up peeking through her keyhole down upon your knees. It is great.
Dylan.
Yeah. So Rick Nelson, "She Belongs to Me," he sings it with the Stone Canyon Band. It's a really good, it's a good song. I think I do like it better than the original, which happens with Dylan sometimes. So that's my second pick.
I have two things about that pick. One, never underestimate the Ricky to Rick, move, because Rick Schroeder did that when he was trying to get rid of his Silver Spoons personality. Mm-hmm. And I think he went on like NYPD Blue or something, and he was I'm not Ricky Schroeder anymore. I'm Rick.
He was kind of manly, actually.
I think he's like a MAGA guy now. So unfortunate. Yeah. But Ricky Nelson, it's so funny because Betsy and I were just talking about Pulp Fiction for Going on 30 not too long ago, and they have a Ricky Nelson cover song at the Jackrabbit Slims in that movie, like when John Travolta and Uma Thurman go to the restaurant and there's like a Ricky Nelson performer that's up on stage and stuff. I was like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, that's right. Well,
So it's been sort of Ricky Nelson season on the pod here for a little while.
yeah, that's sort of a little sneaky cultural artifact brought back. So he was on Ozzie and Harriet, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. Hmm.
And so so he became Rick Nelson, but I knew him for that song Garden Party, which sounds very mature. I went to a garden party to
Yeah.
reminisce with my old friends. And that the refrain is like, it's all right now. I've learned my lesson well.
Mhm.
You see, you can't please everyone, so you've got to please yourself.
Right.
And that's very, I mean, it sounds like someone who's been famous and has to kind of realize that you can't just be the person like George Michael's Freedom 1990. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Freedom 90 or something.
Hmm.
That same idea of I got to be who I am.
Right.
Rick Nelson. Who would have thought?
Rick Nelson. Good for
All right.
him. My number two. And these are not in any order for me. I don't know if they are for you. Like
No.
whatever. Like it's just whichever one I feel like talking about. And right now I feel like talking about this one. When I was young, I had my older cousins were huge fans of Prince. They loved Prince. And I wanted to be cool like my older cousins. And so I loved Prince too because they loved Prince. And I remember being able to watch parts of Purple Rain. It's like, they would show me like parts of Purple Rain and then they would say, okay, you have to leave the room now while like Apollonia was, in the lake or whatever. And then I would have to come back and then I would get to come back and I would get to see like, Morris Day and the Time. And then I'd have to leave the room again. And it's like all this stuff. But I loved Prince as a result. And I remember when I was in high school, I must have been like a freshman in high school or something, was when the Prince Greatest Hits CDs came out, which was it was really a 3-volume set. But most people think of it as a 2-volume set. But there was a third CD that was B-sides. It was Prince B-sides.
Right.
But the first 2 discs were all like hit songs. And that's actually when I learned about songs that I ultimately like loved, like, Dirty Mind and, those old Prince songs, like classics. There's the songs that Prince does that I like to call I don't know, like his religious wrestling songs that
Sure.
like he periodically sort of like has these bizarre songs. They're almost like the David Lynch of Prince songs that just kind of show up. Seven is one of these songs.
Yeah.
It's like this odd religious song. But one that he had was on Sign of the Times. It was the title track, Sign of the Times. Which was really him sort of talking about societal ills, but I always hear it as like a Jesus wept kind of song, like he sings about gang violence. He has that line of at home they're 17-year-old boys and their idea of fun is being in a gang called the Disciples, high on crack and toting a machine gun. Signs, and that's the refrain. It's like signs, and so I like Sign of the Times. I like Prince's version. Well, Ricardo, I've recently discovered that for her last album ever, Miss Nina Simone recorded a version of Sign of the Times.
Whoa.
Yes.
Look out.
Hurricane Annie ripped the ceiling off a church and killed everyone inside. You turn on the telly and every other story is telling you somebody died. Sister killed a baby because she couldn't afford to feed it. And we're sending people to the moon. In September, my cousin tried to reap it for the very first time. Now he's doing horse. It's June.
So it was going to be on her last album, but it didn't make the cut.
Whoa.
But here's the reason that I picked it. You can still find it on Spotify. I'll have it on our Spotify playlist for this episode. Does Nina Simone sing Sign of the Times? I don't know. Probably not. It sort of sounds like spoken word. when it's coming from Nina Simone. But whereas Prince sounded very either detached or disenchanted by the stuff that he was singing about, Nina sounds like she's freaking pissed off about it. And she's giving it very sort of angry and aggressive attitude to the lyrics that Prince has. And it's one of those things that I love about covers, which is like you can be faithful to a cover, you can reinterpret a cover in a totally different way, or you can change the feeling of a song with a cover. And that's what I feel like Nina Simone is doing with Sign of the Times. She's taking Prince's sort of diary entries of the ills of society that he's singing, and she's giving it the voice of anger that maybe it deserves. And so that's my second pick is Nina Simone, Sign of the Times.
Nice. Wow. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, right?
Interestingly, Nina Simone will be noted in one of my picks later.
Oh.
Noted as part of this story. Just so you know. All right, so my number 3 pick, speaking of changing the feel of the song, my third pick is Superstar, covered by Sonic Youth in 1994.
Don't you remember you told me you loved me, baby? You said you'd be coming back this way again, baby. Baby, 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 oh, baby.
So Superstar, you will remember, is made famous by the Carpenters in 1971. Don't you remember you told me you love me, baby?
Mhm.
Right? So it was originally, so I had to look this all up, but it was originally written in 1969 by Bonnie Bramlett and Leon Russell. Now we know Leon Russell. I'd never heard of Bonnie Bramlett. But Rita Coolidge, who dated Leon Russell for a time, in fact, apparently a song that keeps almost making it to the popping playlist was written by Leon Russell about Rita Coolidge, but I won't name the song because it may be on a future list.
Okay.
I digress. Rita Coolidge came up with the idea for this song after observing relationships that female groupies would have with rock band members who kind of loved them and left them. So, the song is basically sung from someone who kind of has a little fling with a guitarist from a band. And then she's like, well, don't you remember you told me you love me? You'd be coming back this way again. I love you. I really do. This kind of longing. It's like, I thought we had something kind of thing. And so Rita Coolidge sees all this, talks about it. Then Leon Russell and Bonnie Bramlett write this song. So Bonnie and Delaney, Bonnie Bramlett, they originally recorded in 1969. The Carpenters make the famous version in 1971. Other people sing it. But then Sonic Youth recorded it. And, Sonic Youth can be pretty thrashy. This is actually pretty constrained. But they recorded it for a 1994 Carpenters tribute CD called If I Were a Carpenter. And it's a great compilation. It should be on Spotify. It's really, there's some great stuff on there. What they do is, I just think it's brilliant. So the song is from the perspective of a groupie who's kind of been done wrong to, kind of. Mm-hmm. But the way Sonic Youth sing it, they sing it like a menacing incel, if you will. He's like Thurston Moore, the one of the lead singers of Sonic Youth. He sings it with this menacing voice, like in a cave, like, "Don't you remember you told me you loved me, baby?"
Yeah, yeah.
And it's creepy. And there's this like fuzzy, buzzing, distorted guitar in the background, kind of going like this and snarling. And there's a piano chord low on the piano that's like, at certain moments it'll go, dum, And so they turn it around so that it's not about a longing groupie, it's about a stalker.
Yeah.
Groupie, like a stan, I guess, if you will, is what they used to use for this. I don't know.
Right, from the Eminem song, yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so, and when I say incel, that means involuntary celibate.
Right. Yeah. These are, yeah, it's considered like men that women refuse to sleep with.
Right, right, right. So that just came to my mind when I was just thinking about this song, and it's sung by a man in this case, and so it's just creepy. And there's this point where the electric guitar in the background, he says something like, when will you come back or something, and the guitar goes like a door in a horror movie creeping
Yeah.
up. It's so great, but it's constrained, it's restrained, it's not like all out.
Right.
And I love it. And so basically it becomes a whole other song and is brilliant. Apparently Richard Carpenter was interviewed on Fresh Air after this kind of tribute CD came out. And about this song, he says, this is Wikipedia, I must confess. It says, while Sonic Youth had always drawn inspiration from the Carpenters, somehow, Richard Carpenter was not impressed by their version of the song. Remarking on their version during an interview on NPR's Fresh Air, he said, I will say I don't care for it, but I don't understand it. So I'm not going to say it's good or it's bad. I'm just going to say I don't care for it. But it's brilliant.
There. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't think he got it. It's been covered by Joe Cocker, Cher, so many others.
Yeah.
But this one is really memorable. I would say it improves on the original, or on the Carpenter's version, but it's just too different, even though it sounds-ish the same. So Superstar by Sonic Youth, 1994 is my third pick.
I have a vague memory of this because I know this song. Like, yeah, I've heard this song. And I just have this vague memory of it being used like in a trailer for a horror movie. And like I can't think of what it was from or anything, but like, yeah, it definitely has that feel. And
Yeah.
yeah.
In my research, I found out I've actually never seen this movie. It was apparently used in the movie Juno when it came out.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess that makes sense.
Oh.
I like that Juno soundtrack, actually. It's really good.
Yeah. All right. So that's my third pick. What about you?
My third pick is going to be short and simple because I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. And that is Tori Amos's cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
Load up on guns, bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello, 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 hello.
Because one, it's a famous cover. I wanted to make sure that it was on one of these cover songs lists that we make and stuff.
Yeah.
And likely a lot of people have already heard it. The reason that I would pick it though is that there's something about Nirvana that they prefer women to sing their songs and like cover their songs. So for instance, when Nirvana went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it was all women that sang their songs during the concert portion of their induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Kurt would often prefer that women sing his songs as opposed to men covering their songs. And as a matter of fact, there's actually a clip going around online, I think even now, it's a pretty famous clip. Nirvana had a female band that opened for them for a concert, and they got booed off stage. And so when it was time for Nirvana to play, Kurt just basically sandbagged the entire concert, just refused to sing or give any energy to the performance whatsoever because he was so sort of offended by the way that their opening act was treated. So it makes sense for someone like Tori Amos to cover, the Nirvana song, Smells Like Teen Spirit, right?
Right.
But there's something in the way that she sings it, again, not unlike Sonic Youth. She slows it way down. She uses the piano. And what that does is it highlights the lyrics in a way that, Kurt always garbled the lyrics of Smells Like Teen Spirit. So like you can make out a few words maybe, but like for the most part, he was like swallowing the words. It was, it was very distorted. So, Tori Amos right away just gets into what, load up on guns, bring your friends. It's easy to lose and to pretend, something like that. And the reason that I thought about it is because I was listening to an interview. There's a podcast I really like that's also a music podcast called 60s Songs That Explain the 90s.
Oh,
And the host of that show is a music critic, and he was talking about a Nirvana song. I don't think it was "Smells Like Teen Spirit." I think it was something else. And Courtney Love heard it. She heard his podcast about the song, and she actually requested to come on to the show and talk to him because she respected what it was that they said about like Kurt and the song and stuff. And she said something that still kind of haunts me a little bit, which is that, and this is an interview from, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. So fairly recent. She said, I think Kurt would probably be a Trump guy. Like that's just kind of who he was as a person. Here's the thing about like all these sort of rock gods and stuff like that. Like you don't know who they are. Kurt didn't know who he was. He was this really depressed guy who all of a sudden found himself in like, rock royalty pantheon with like this diamond level times 100 hit song. And it probably was very isolating and very scary. And the lyrics were already sort of giving away how scared he was. Right. And I think that Tori Amos grabs that. I think that when she sings this cover, you understand the fear that was probably in Kurt's soul that he couldn't get away from. And yeah, and so listening to Tori sing, listening to Courtney talk about her husband, these women and how their relationships with Kurt were, it's beautiful and it's sad.
I find that surprising, the whole that he'd be a MAGA person or something. I don't know. Obviously, you're right. We don't know him, didn't know him, but he was always really pro-gay. And I remember him saying, if you hate gays, don't buy our albums. Basically, not basically. He literally said that. And so there was a lot of different aspects to him. So I get that. But gosh, I mean, I didn't listen to this podcast or anything, so I don't know what she was referring to when she says that he'd be that way. But I do find that disappointing or haunting, as you put it.
I don't know. I mean, if you think about it this way, right? Like what I tap in on the way that Tori sings "Smells Like Teen Spirit" is that this is a really kind of scared guy, and I think scared people are people that vote for Trump, right? And I think that may be what Courtney was getting at.
I see.
He's kind of a scared guy at the end of the day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the lights out, it's less dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to bring us up mood-wise.
Okay.
Although my fourth pick is not, it's not a fun and funky song. It's actually really, really spare and slow. And again, I did a little research and I had no idea that there was so much going on in this song. So my fourth pick is called "Wild is the Wind," and it's covered by Cat Power on her 2000 album, The Covers Record.
We are creatures of the wind. Wild is the wind.
Cat Power is Chan Marshall, a woman who, it's funny because my sense of Cat Power when she was kind of first out, like in the 90s and stuff, and the aughts, was, oh, she's really cool and hip and indie and like really kind of edgy, like I think like St. Vincent kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that that's true because she does a lot of old standards, and I got to see her in concert at Hardly Strictly Bluegrass in October of last year, and she was touring with she basically put out an album that was a remake of, it was called Cat Power Sings Dylan, the 1966 Royal Albert Hall concert. So she covers all the songs that he sang at that concert. So it's kind of like a traditionalist. So Wild is the Wind. So apparently I was wrong about her. And she's kind of a torch song singer. She's got this breathy voice. And so it was first written, Wild is the Wind, by Dimitri Tompkin and Ned Washington in 1957 for a movie called Wild is the Wind. And the first version was recorded by Johnny Mathis. Nina Simone did a version in 1959.
Okay.
David Bowie recorded it in 1976 for his Station to Station album, but he recorded it as an homage to Nina Simone. He had met her in 1975 and was really taken with her and her version of this song. And so he did Wild is the Wind, and that's the only one I knew. So I thought, oh, Cat Power's doing a David Bowie song. But no, it goes back to Nina Simone, Johnny Mathis, and apparently many others. Now, I don't know if Wild is the Wind is not like a,
I don't know.
off the radar kind of thing. But so Chan Marshall, or Cat Power, is in her 50s now. And as I said, she has this really breathy voice. And the version it really is like if you're in a bar late at night, it's like near closing time and there's smoke and it's basically just the piano and her. It's like just chords that often there's silence between chords. Like she'll be like, boom, love me, say you do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very slow, but it's
very bluesy. Yeah.
It's mesmerizing. And when I listen to it, I think, oh God, this song is so long and it's slow. And then I just get caught up in it. It's so beautiful. And the lyrics are so almost innocent. It's like, you touch me. I hear the sound of mandolins and you kiss me. And with your kiss, my life begins. It's so open-hearted and kind of naive. But the way she sings it is just so, I don't know. I find it sensual, I suppose, is the best word for it. So I love it. Cat Power's cover of Wild is the Wind from 2000, which I thought was by David Bowie from 1976's Station to Station, but he followed Nina Simone, who followed Johnny Mathis, and there we are. That's before the pick. Yep.
I love it.
All right.
Okay, number 4 for me. We're going to pick things up.
Yep.
We're going to throw in some horns. We're going to throw in some 70s rockabilly vibes, and we're going to throw in the King, because we're talking about Elvis's cover of Tony Joe White's Polk Salad Annie.
Down in Louisiana, where the alligators grow so mean, there lived a girl that I swear to the world made the alligators look pink. Polk Salad Annie, you got your granny. Everybody said it was a shame, cause her mama was working on the chain gang.
So,
of course we are. What is this?
Here's the story. So my best friend moved to San Francisco about a year before I went to seminary at Church Divinity School of the Pacific in Berkeley. So my friend Uli had been out there for a year. So when I moved out there to go to school, it was great. We were like reunited. We were together again. Well, Uli ended up having to move back to North Carolina. I can't remember why. It's like he had a job offer or something. I can't remember. And so he was going to drive back across country. And I was like, well, I'll go with you. We'll make a road trip out of it. Because it was the summer. So we were out of school after the first year. And I didn't have a job at the time. So I was like, well, I'll go with you. So he and I drove cross country together, and we kind of made a road trip out of it. We went down to LA to see some friends, and then we went over to Vegas from there and crossed the Hoover Dam and tried to hook up with Route 66 at some point. We saw the Cadillac Ranch outside of Amarillo, Texas. We were driving around. We stayed at a motel in Oklahoma City that was so bad. And the only reason that we stayed there was because I saw that they had HBO on their sign out front said we've got HBO, and I was like, well, they've got to be a pretty nice place if they've got HBO, right? And we went up to the window to check in, and we were like, we need a room with two beds. And she was like, the lady working the register said, okay, for how long? We were like, I mean, for the night, right? Like we're gonna sleep there, and then we're gonna wake up in the morning. We're gonna go. And I was like, and then it didn't dawn on me until the next day what it was that she was asking about. So there you go.
Nice.
It was one of those things. Actually, and also while we were at that motel, our door got knocked on at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
And Uli answered it, and it was a guy saying, "Hey, can I use your phone? Because I need to call home to my old lady, but she doesn't know that I'm where I am, and I don't want her to know where I am on my cell phone or something." I don't know. It was that was a wild night. So anyway, it was a great road trip, but somewhere in that whole road trip, we're firing through the radio dial, searching for whatever we can find, and somewhere low on the dial, like somewhere in the 90, 91, 92 range, all of a sudden, here comes Tony Joe White growling out the lyrics to Polk Salad Annie. Gators got your granny. You know, it's
as Gators do. Yes.
it's like this southern rock, sort of anthem. It's this sort of thumping, rhythm, just driving music. It was so great. I was just like, I was listening to it for the first time, just mesmerized. And so then I immediately go and I research, like, okay, so who is this guy, and what? Turns out he's this great songwriter. Johnny Cash covers a ton of his songs, and Elvis Presley covered Polk Salad Annie. And so the version that Elvis had is just very Elvis, right? So where Tony Joe White is just like thumping his boots on the ground and strumming a guitar, Elvis has the band, the backup singers, the horns, the lights, the karate chops, the jumpsuits, he's got it all in his version. And there's something I'll never forget, like when you were talking about, oh gosh, like Fancy or something
yeah.
on like a music episode.
Right.
Where, there's something about that 70s style where it's just like, yeah, let's throw that in too. Let's throw in the backup singers. Let's throw in the horns. And it just becomes this wall of sound that comes at you. And it sounds so dated. And at the same time, it just sounds cool.
It's delightful. Delightful it is. Yes.
So Elvis Presley's Polk Salad Annie is my fourth pick.
Well done. You always come up with at least one that's like, oh God, what? Well done. Well, I'll do my fifth pick, and it also has lots of horn and is upbeat. But this is, to me, it's one of those quintessential cover songs that is quite different than the original, and both are famous. And so it's an easy one. It's not, you should recognize it. It's Proud Mary by Ike and Tina Turner, 1970.
Rolling,
Rolling,
rolling on a river.
rolling on the river.
Yeah.
Which is a cover of the Creedence Clearwater Revival song of the same name, written by John Fogerty. They released it in '69, and it went to number 2 on Billboard. And then Ike and Tina released it in 1970 on their Workin' Together album, although they've been performing it even before then. And, I just love their version. You know it.
Mm-hmm.
It's, people have been asking us to do songs. Why can't we do something that's nice and easy? Well, we never, ever do things nice and easy. We do it nice and rough, And then they do this nice bluesy version. Now, this is the one time I will ask you for a specific version of
Okay.
the song. I would like the Ike and Tina Turner version off of the Workin' Together album, because Tina Turner does her own version. I
Uh-huh.
don't think it's as good.
Okay.
It sort of downplays the male voice, and it might not even be Ike Turner because it sounds like a remake a little bit. But I want the original. But his voice is like rolling,
Yeah, he goes deep.
rolling. And
To
she's
be
got that.
fair to Tina, I'm
Yeah.
sure that she wanted nothing to do with Ike's voice at that point.
I cannot imagine that would not be the case. Yeah, it's sure enough. Yeah, no, of course I don't blame her. But
Yeah.
I've never saw that movie. What's Love Got to Do with It? I've never seen. Yeah. So it's so good, and when it just like starts bopping and going crazy with the horns and the boom, boom, ba, 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 bum, ba, 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 bum. It's just
And the
glorious.
dress, right? It's the visual of the short dress with the tassels and her and the backup singers and the tassels of the dress are just going all over the place. And she has those legs anyway that I think she
Totally.
got insured. I think she got her legs insured at one point.
Yeah. So, it's just a great song, and it's one of those quintessential cover songs, like, All Along the Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix, and all that. So I thought, let me put in a one that's kind of a famous one, but just what that must have looked like on stage, and felt like to be hearing live. You hear these things, and you just sort of wish, God, why couldn't I have been there? There it is. Proud Mary, Ike and Tina Turner from 1970, covering a CCR 69 song, which also is good, but boy, it's different.
Yeah, well, it's one of those covers that I think eclipses the original. I mean,
yeah.
that happens.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, for my last song, that's actually a good segue to my last song, because
Go for it.
one of the covers that people often cite as, well, this just totally eclipsed the original, is Hurt by Johnny Cash, right?
All right.
And I think even Trent Reznor says, like, oh, that's not my song anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
I think Trent says that, and everybody thinks that he's sort of saying it jokingly, but I think Trent is probably saying it begrudgingly, like, screw that guy.
That's right. Damn it. Why did I let him do that? Wait, is that your fifth pick?
No.
Okay.
No. Before Johnny Cash recorded Hurt for the American recordings, Rick Rubin had been doing American recordings with Johnny Cash for a while, and Hurt doesn't show up until like the fourth album that he does. It's
Right.
When the Man Comes Around, right? And a lot of the first American recordings albums were a lot of standards. It was a lot of like country music. It took a while for Johnny to really branch out into pop music and rock music and stuff like that. And I think it was a lot because like it took him a while to figure out what to trust Rick Rubin's taste on like what songs he was giving him. I think also, and this is the thing that I think is really important, American Recordings 3, which is called Solitary Man, which is the Neil Diamond song that he sings on there. He sings a lot of those songs. He duets a lot of the songs on American Recordings 3 with Tom Petty. And I think that Tom Petty probably talked him into more of the rock songs. And I think that there was that sort of bridged that trust of like Rick Rubin giving him these songs to sing and stuff. A lot of great songs on American 3, but the one that I'm picking for this list is The Mercy Seat.
And the mercy seat is waiting, and I think my head is burning, and in a way I'm yearning to be done with all this weighing of the truth. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and anyway I told the truth, and I'm not afraid to die.
Oh, wow.
That he
Yeah.
sings covering Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. If you've ever heard Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds version of The Mercy Seat, it's haunting. I mean, the way that you described Superstar,
Yeah.
it's almost like that. I mean, and the subject matter is haunting, right? It's about a man going to his death, on the chair and stuff. It's this very visceral image. It always makes me think of. I remember when I was in, I think I was a senior in high school or a freshman in college, was when Stephen King put out The Green Mile. If you remember back then, The Green Mile was a serial story. Like it wasn't like a whole novel. Like King was putting out, it was like either like a 50 or 60 page, little novels that you would collect until to get the whole story. Here's the thing though, they were so thin and tiny that you could just read the whole novel in the bookstore. You didn't have to buy it, which is what I did.
Oh, great.
So,
Oh, look out. That's why they went out of business.
there you go.
Okay.
So I put my local bookstore out of business because I just read The Green Mile, one volume at a time in the store. And I remember, yeah, the evocative like feeling of the electric chair and, old Sparky and the way that Stephen King would talk about that and stuff. And the mercy seat kind of feels like that, right? It's like this, this haunting image. But then you put Johnny Cash's voice in there and it sounds like judgment. Sounds like God on a throne, right? I think there are a lot of songs that Johnny Cash's version eclipses the original, and I think that this is one of them. I think The Mercy Seat may be one of the early examples of Cash because it's not just the song that he's covering, it's his persona mixed with the song that makes the cover.
Totally.
And so that's my fifth pick is The Mercy Seat by Johnny Cash.
That's a great song. I know the Johnny Cash version better than the Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds version. So one of them, at least, probably Nick Cave's, is kind of hard to listen to because it goes on for a long time.
Yeah, his is long. Nick Cave's is long.
Yeah. So it's just over and over. But I knew it was about an electric chair because he says, Johnny Cash speaks something at the beginning about, they gave me 10 years or whatever it was. It was like a little storytelling thing, I think. But so I knew it was an electric chair, but I also thought, well, isn't there something in the Bible about a mercy seat in the temple or like with the ark or something? And I never quite researched that, but I thought it had this haunting kind of religious thing going on as well with that name. I mean, I'm assuming that's what it was called. In real life, it wasn't Nick Cave didn't make up that name for an electric chair, but it's funny that there's that echo of a religious underpinning somehow.
Yeah, I mean, the mercy seat was the lid of the Ark of the Covenant.
Okay.
So it was the source of like God's presence and ultimately, I guess you could say God's judgment with the law, right? I mean, it's this real sort of double entendre that's happening there, right? Of like, this is the instrument of my death, and yet, like, will I see heaven even though this is the end of my earthly life, right? Am I too far gone? Is the question on the lips of the singer.
Can I say something in general about cover songs? I feel like, I'm sure this still happens. All those tribute albums, there were in the 90s, especially when I was in college, the 80s and 90s and aughts, there were all these tribute albums, and REM was like on almost every one of them. It's like, oh, there's REM. They influenced me. They influenced us. There's so many that are so good. And I tell you, we were texting the other day, and there's one I can't find on Spotify, and actually I can't find the songs even online, some of them. And I just find that so tragic. It's a tribute CD to Richard Thompson, like Richard and Linda Thompson, Richard Thompson. And it's so good. It's called Beat the Retreat. And the song I wanted to do was called Just the Motion by David Byrne. It's so beautiful. It made me cry. It's just like, I mean, I won't go into it because it's not one of the picks, but it's all these things that we loved back when that if you still don't have the CD, you may never hear again. There's a Leonard Cohen tribute thing. There's a number of them, but one is called I'm Your Fan. And there's a version of Hallelujah by John Cale. That's my favorite Hallelujah that I've ever heard. I haven't heard them all, and one gets partial once one gets used to one,
Yeah.
Like Jeff Buckley does a great version, but I find it just a little long,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think those tribute things I love.
No, I think that's right. I remember I guess it was 95, 94, 95. There was a tribute album to Led Zeppelin called Encomium that came out. And that was like a big CD. I mean, everyone had it in their CD case. Yeah, it was like Stone Temple Pilots, and I think Hootie and the Blowfish had a song on there or something. But it's just like, that's how you sort of, I don't know. It's like a backdoor way to like, oh, is this what Led Zeppelin is? Let me check out, what else they've got going on, and stuff. It's a bit of a it's religious education. It's a bit of a music education. It's like
Really?
by these people that singing tributes to bands that influenced them, then that takes you back to those people and back and back. Yeah, so.
That's exactly right. That's the other thing about these. You get exposed to previous music, but you also get to learn about, what people felt or what they took from it. These are darker than you realize, or, these are thrashier than you thought. Or when you take away the bombast of Smells Like Teen Spirit, you get that spare, devastating lyric that he had. God bless cover songs.
Absolutely. God bless you, Ricardo. No one can cover you. And you are a pure original for the PC Music Diary, and we're so happy that you're back. And I'm so glad we could have this conversation.
Same here, Greg. Feels like old times, as Diane Keaton sang in Annie Hall, which covered somebody, I'm sure. It was a cover version. Greg,
that's it for PC Music Diary for this month. When will we be back? Who knows? What will we be talking about? Can't tell you. But I do know that we'll have a PC Music Diary in the future, and I can't wait until we do so. Ricardo, thank you so much for joining me again.
Hey, Greg.
You can find Popping Collars on the web at poppingcollarspodcast.com. We have merch that you can buy there, and we also have a whole lot of other things to entertain you. YouTube channel links and movie review links and all kinds of stuff on there. So just click around, see what you find on our website. And let us know what favorite cover songs you have. Email us at poppingcollarspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know if you are in Senegal right now listening to this podcast. Email us your favorite cover songs.
That's right. Or if you're anywhere, so you can prove that this isn't just a smoke and mirrors
That's right.
outfit here.
That's right. Send us your emails. We're only taking emails from out of the country. No domestic emails, only international emails. And keep those collars popped, and we'll see you next time.
Pop.